so prepared. I had a blue screen. Leave me alone.
Oh yeah, you're like still resetting from that.
Woo! All right. We should be more or less live to both Twitch and YouTube at this point.
It's a devastating event when that happens.
It is. I cry every time. So welcome. Hello. This is Awesome Hardware, episode 154. This is side B, which means we've already finished broadcasting side A, which was on Paul's YouTube channel. If you want to go there, you can find the link in my description.
It was really good.
Or you can head over to youtube.com/paulshardware. It was unprecedentedly great in every way.
Yep.
I'm forever changed.
No cause for hesitation there.
I'm forever changed. And you can also check us out on twitch.tv/awesomehardware. If you're watching us on YouTube maybe for the first time, you're like, what other platforms can I watch this show on? I think about that all the time. You can check us out on Twitch as well. But this is a fun, informative, and enjoyable tech news show that we do every single Tuesday at Tuesday.
What?
Wait, I just said we do it every Tuesday at Tuesday.
You did.
No, we do it every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
Pacific time.
Yes.
There's a but. Okay, you're watching an advertisement. I was like, I just laser focus. I see but.
I was not logged in, so it showed me an ad.
That's my channel. Why are there ads of yoga pants on my videos? What have I done in the Google? What? Is it because you're logged in and you've been like checking out yoga pants?
It's either the IP address that we're connected from here,
or it's your account,
or it's specifically my account. Oh.
All right. It's just the first time I've seen a yoga pants advertisement on one of my videos. I don't know what to think right now. Well, guess we'll just leave it to the imagination. All right. I'm getting sidetracked here. It's a fun tech show. We like to have a couple drinks, and we encourage you to drink along with us, whether that be
if you're of age.
If you're of legal drinking age in whatever country you belong in.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, if you can only drink irresponsibly,
we
then
don't want
to
cause any alcoholics to relapse or anything like that.
No, we don't want that blood on your.
We're just saying if you can do it and have a good time and it's okay,
yeah,
then
and
just do it.
You're still gonna check, clock
if
in
not,
tomorrow.
that's okay too. Like you don't have to drink to have a good time.
But I mean, you're cooler if you do.
According to some people.
I don't know. Peer pressure. Peer pressure got me through a lot.
Good old peer pressure.
Oh yeah. Also on the show, I guess I should give an adult language warning. Sometimes we do swear, so if you have kids around or if you're not comfortable with that sort of thing, you've been warned. That is your warning. We will just be
bad words.
Effing and essin' and being all night long from here on out.
The crap on the dangity
ding.
The poo.
The poo filth.
Crappity.
Potty face.
Poopy.
Poopy poop.
Yeah.
And a poopy poop. And you should buy stuff from our stores. That's the last announcement, or second to last announcement that I'll plug is we have stores. Mine is bitwit.tech/store, and I sell a lot of things there, including some of the very fine glasses that we're drinking out of.
Look at
They're
these.
very nice, pint glasses.
Look at these glasses.
Another tall can. A lot of friends and family have bought these already and very much enjoy them. Also, Paul's store is paulshardware.net. He has a lot of great stuff on his store as well. Oxblood Thumbscrew t-shirt, etc. We both go through the same merchandise, guys, so it's all very high quality, same level of quality across both stores. And you will get a Johnson shout out at the end of the show if you happen to purchase anything from either of us. A double Johnson if you pick up from both stores. And the last thing I'll say is
An announcement.
To top off all the announcements, we will be at Comic-Con. We mentioned this on Comic-Con San Diego in just a week. Holy moly, about a week. Oh no, next week.
It's a week from this week.
A week from this week. It'll be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there. We'll actually be chilling at one of the LAN areas, the only LAN room at the event, which is really the best part of Comic-Con. And we will be tweeting out exact date and time of a meetup that we'll be doing. We'll do a meet and greet.
So if you're going to Comic-Con, go to the PC gaming area. And if you're going to Comic-Con and you want to meet us, we'll be around.
Why wouldn't you?
And we will tweet some further details as far as the actual meetup times, because we're going to try to do that on either Friday or Saturday. We're trying to get final confirmation on that, but that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. All right, let's just dive right into the news, shall we? Starting with one of our top stories here, NVIDIA has announced that GeForce Now, their game streaming service, will be coming to the Shield in the very near future, according to them. This is an article from Hot Hardware. GeForce Now, as a lot of you guys know, is already available in beta on PC and Mac. Somehow it's on Mac. Currently, the waitlist is pretty long, though, due to the high demand. The service basically lets you stream AAA games so that you can offload all the rendering to NVIDIA's servers. That way you don't actually need high-end hardware to run some of the most demanding games on the market right now. You just need a pretty great internet connection, albeit to handle the high flow of data. But with GeForce Now coming to the Shield, you don't even need a PC to play today's most demanding titles. You can just run it off your Shield. Do you have a Shield, Paul?
What?
I don't have a Shield. That's one product I never got. Like
Don't
a
have a
hot
Shield.
ticket item. Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone on that.
Nope.
You know, they're supposed to be really good products. Some of the best 4K streaming Android device stuff that you can come across today. And they're still growing the actual GeForce Now platform. It's still very much, like I said, in beta at the moment. There's only about 225 games available, with so there's a lot of room for growth there. But that's cool. With GeForce Now on the Shield, you may not even need a gaming PC in 2018 or whenever they decide to release it. I would imagine at some point this year.
Do.
No, you do. You absolutely do. And I'd also be curious to see how it performs on the Shield. I think it's really going to depend on your...
This is peanut brittle that Wifey Sauce got before the show and intentionally left here in order to
spite you.
So I would be tempted by it to eat it.
She has some sort of ulterior motive here.
It's a lot easier to eat when you don't have to talk, so...
Well, I'm going to do both.
Kyle's going to do that anyway.
The more I drink, the better that tastes.
Shield streaming is very effective when you have a gaming PC in your home, though, right? Because then you can do streaming to the Shield from it and play on the controller.
Streaming from your PC?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not GeForce Now, right?
No.
Okay.
I was just talking about other uses for the Shield.
Oh yeah. Right. So I guess with GeForce Now coming to Shield, you technically wouldn't need that gaming PC if you still wanted to run those games. But you should still have a gaming PC, because that's the business we're in, and if that goes under, we all go under.
Now we're going under.
Keeping it strong. All right, so just a quick little update there. We can move on to WCCF Tech's article about a crypto crime that has yet again happened, and one of the big reasons why I try to stay away from coin mining and whatnot.
$23 million.
Only $23 million was stolen. It's not a big deal, gosh.
That's
target,
like 1/4% of Micron's revenue.
It's
Sorry.
true.
Go
They
ahead.
would be somewhat almost close to being mad a little bit if it was Micron.
They might have noticed.
This is the cryptocurrency exchange Bancor, based in Israel. They were the target. Criminals stole approximately 24 or 25,000 Ethereum coins from them, among other coins. One of Bancor's services includes a wallet with a built-in exchange service. And in the latest security incident, Bancor said that a wallet used to upgrade some smart contracts was compromised, with attackers making off with over $12.5 million in Ethereum, $1 million in NPXS tokens, and $10 million in Bancor's in-house BNT, their Bancor tokens or whatever.
They got the BNT too?
The BNT too. Now, since it's some of Bancor's own tokens or coins were involved here, the company was able to freeze that BNT, but they can't really do the same with the NPXS or the Ethereum. And so they're currently working with other exchanges to make it more difficult for the attackers to liquidate the coins that were stolen, the tokens that were stolen. How effective that's going to be, who knows? Litecoin's Charlie Lee tweeted, kind of face-palming at this whole situation, particularly in regards to Bancor's false sense of decentralization, as he called it, as the company can lose and freeze customer funds if it wants, which defeats the purpose of decentralization. So maybe indicating that it's maybe not the best place to put your coin or your investment. So far, the BNT coin has fallen 14% in value as a result of this attack, and there's no word yet on who the hell did it. So, yeah. If you're gonna mine wisely, guys.
So Charlie Lee is pointing out that if Bancor has the ability to freeze their cryptocurrency, then it's not truly decentralized. Like
Exactly.
cryptocurrency is supposed to be.
Right.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But in this case, it allowed them to potentially save some of their stolen crypto.
Right. And this was all crypto that was stolen directly from the company, not any customers' accounts. So, just FYI. But yes, it does open up a lot of discussion for debate as to what constitutes decentralized environment when it comes to mining. So, yep. Hopefully no one here's. I guess you would be
Heavily
affected by
invested
that.
in Bancor.
Yeah, heavily invested. Exactly. All right. Let's move on to our next article. This one's from Hexus. It's about Intel's 15-watt Whiskey Lake U core CPUs.
Whiskey Lake.
Whiskey Lake. These were spotted by a Twitter leakster named Tom Apisak. I believe he's Thai, so he's probably one of my cousins or something. He's leaked some images of spec sheets from unreleased laptops showing off some brand spanking new Whiskey Lake U CPUs. So we can actually expect a launch of these U series CPUs, known as Whiskey Lake, that'll be replacing the existing KB Lake R CPUs very soon. So this is mobile. We're talking about mobile.
Okay.
Don't get too excited. It's still 14 nanometer plus, same as the one that's used for KB Lake R, but it's optimized again to output higher clock speeds within the same power profile. So higher performance, same power config and whatnot. We have the Intel Core i7-8565U, which is a Whiskey Lake U CPU that was listed. 4 cores, 8 threads, 1.8 gigahertz base, 4.5 gigahertz turbo. It's quite a gap between the base and boost, isn't it? But we also have 8 megabytes of cache, 15 watt TDP. This is going to offer a 500 megahertz turbo over the i7-8550U, which is KB Lake R. We're also going to see that same boost on the Core i5-8265U, which is Whiskey Lake U. 4 core, 8 threads, 1.6 to 3.9 gigahertz base and boost with 6 megabytes of cache, 15 watt TDP. So really we're seeing like some pretty nice turbo speed gains. The turbo clocks on these Whiskey Lake CPUs are basically who's to thank, I guess, for the double-digit performance gains we'll see over KB Lake R according to Intel. So if you're looking for, a high speed or a robust mobile solution in the near future, then maybe you want to hold out for Whiskey Lake U, because it could just be days or, at least a few weeks before they overtake KB Lake R. Them turbo frequencies. Intel's doing all they can to 14 nanometer until they actually have to shrink it down.
Whiskey Lake sounds like a good time, though.
It really does, right? It kind of just makes you wanna like party with it. You're just like, yeah, you know what? I can get behind that.
It'd be fun to have a Whiskey Lake themed awesome hardware.
Ooh, we should. On the launch day, we should just like all we drink is whiskey.
That'd be so bad for me. I don't drink a lot of whiskey.
all right.
Dangerous.
So the idea is that we'd get a really nice whiskey, like a nice scotch, so that we would sip it very slowly.
Some sipping
And
whiskey.
It would hopefully last us the whole 2-hour show. No, we would die. We would die, but it's for the fans. They would enjoy it. They would enjoy it. So I'll take one for the team once in a while.
We'll set that up.
Any excuse to drink whiskey. All right. Next up, we have an article from overclock3d.net introducing Seagate's new Barracuda lineup of SATA-based SSDs. So no NVMe here, but to be honest, that's not bad news or anything. SATA SSDs are still very relevant. Most people these days do not need the bandwidth or performance that comes with NVMe drives, and you can save quite a bit of money just sticking with the old SATA 2.5-inch form factor. And here we have Seagate stepping up to the plate, finally kind of following, I wouldn't even say hot on the heels of WD, but WD came out with their SSDs not too long ago. Actually a while back, their first one.
This is an awesome picture.
And you know what? I think it's just the trend. Like if you're strictly a hard drive manufacturer, you need to start making SSDs to stay in the game and to stay competitive.
I'm surprised at the form factor here, though. The SSD seems like it's about half the size of a keyboard.
No, it's just a perspective thing, Paul. It's not actually that big.
It's a very large SSD. That's all I'm saying.
Or a very small keyboard and monitor.
Maybe this is a tiny keyboard, monitor, and mouse. Maybe the peripherals are very small.
They're all minis.
Okay.
So all right. So I think it makes sense for Seagate to catch on. In fact,
even
it's
here,
like
it's much larger than this laptop.
These are marketing stock photos and imagery postings. Like you can't say that it's one to one.
The light source seems very awkward here. It's like striking this guy from the right side, but it's the SSD. It's coming from the left.
Well, how do you know there's not a window on the other side of the room?
Because it's not reflecting on the table at all. This is wood grain tables. Apparently, it seems like has a.
That's because
maybe a lacquer finish.
It's because all the key grips did a very good job of composing
nice
this photo.
Dark stain. This looks like it's maybe a walnut or a maple.
You're getting way too sidetracked right now, Paul. You need to focus.
What are all these green dots? What the hell? Did this guy just sneeze?
That I'll agree with. That is really weird.
In his like, why are they there?
It doesn't really need to be there.
Why do they go behind the laptop?
Highly unnecessary.
And behind his.
Well, they're clearly. If you look at the trajectory, they're coming straight from the window that must be next to the guy on the right.
Like
Colin?
They went to the trouble here of cutting out his hand with the coffee mug to put some of the green dots behind that, right? Because this is like it's behind that, right?
Yeah.
But they're in front of him here. All right, whoever the graphic designer is from Seagate to put this image together, I'm very confused. It's leaving me.
Maybe there was too much green stuff in front of his coffee cup.
Confused. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe coffee cup is part of they want to focus on the coffee cup more. I'm not
coffee has caffeine, which
is fast,
gets you
makes
excited,
you faster.
makes you fast and speed.
Yeah.
SSD, fast SSD.
See, we just don't get their art.
Sense.
We just don't get their artistic message.
Yep.
All right, it's all coming together.
That's what they're going for.
Forgive us for being slow, Seagate. All right, so 250, 500, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabyte capacities, as you might expect. These are SATA-based speeds, guys, so you're not going to see anything further than 540 and 520 megabytes per second sequential reads and writes. Still no word as to whether or not Seagate's going to release some NVMe drives in the near future. I reckon it's only a matter of time because I feel like their closest competitor right now is WD, and WD's already released some pretty nice, well-reviewed NVMe drives. These are going to come with a 5-year warranty. The pricing is fairly competitive. For the 250 gig, it's going to be purchasable for $74.99. 500 gig is $119.99, and the 1 terabyte is $229.99, with the 2 terabyte still pending a price because it hasn't been released yet. Going back to the 1 terabyte for $229, just did a little quick research here a moment ago, and it's basically the same price as WD's. It's very competitive with WD's Blue SSD, which is also SATA based, but it is still $30 more. Both of those drives are still $30 more than Crucial's MX500. We're on the MX500 now, and SanDisk and the SanDisk Ultra. The SanDisk Ultra is at $198, less than $200. And the cheapest 1 terabyte SSD I could find on Amazon at the time of filming or broadcasting was a Silicon Power. Silicon Power 1 terabyte, 2.5 inch SSD for $175. So if you're trying to save the most coin for the most capacity you can get.
That's about the same price as I bought my SanDisk SSD Plus.
Black Friday.
It's a 960 gig, 1 terabyte class, which was like, it was like 170 or something.
But it was for Black Friday? Or is it just a deal? Or just like
a year and a half ago, I want to say, is before all the NAND and DDR prices.
I feel like I remember you telling me about that.
Crazy.
I think you got it on some either.
It's a really good deal, and I was just like a
Christmas
like
deal.
a 1 terabyte. I love just the concept of a 1 terabyte SSD and
I know.
how useful it is in so many things. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been using it like as an external drive for a bunch of other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of those things where it's like I was really glad I bought it when I did because
Yeah.
prices actually went up after
Yep.
that. So,
Good
but yeah,
buy.
you can get 500 gig class SSDs now for less than $100. They've been creeping that far down
Yeah.
in price, so that's pretty cool. So, like a 2 terabyte, if they can give us a 2 terabyte for 250, 300, that'd be cool.
I'd hit it. I mean, I'd buy it.
And then have sex with it.
Oh, no,
So
I'd
you
hit
meant
it.
by hit it, right? Hit like.
Someone will Twitch clip that.
That's
That's what you're. That's what you're good for, internet.
That's the motion. That's how you do the
Move.
sex.
Moves the ocean.
All right.
All right, moving on here.
What's next?
Let's talk about Tencent, the old Chinese gaming company, looking to take on Steam. All right,
Ew.
giant. Steam is currently the leading game client in the world, but China aims to change all that because they're China and they're like, we got like billions more people than anyone. We can dominate anything we want. So they're going to go after Steam globally with their plans to roll out their client Wii game, which is not cool as Steam, not as cool sounding nearly. But they want to take Wii game beyond its home market of China. Wii game's going to challenge Steam first in Hong Kong. There will be a special Hong Kong version of Wii game that will be released soon. It's currently in the works. And Wii game actually launched earlier in September last year. It's been widely compared to Steam since its launch. However, it's much smaller than Steam. It only has about 220 games available at the moment. Obviously, the plan for Tencent is to increase that catalog significantly so that it actually stays competitive with Steam. And then expand its catalog beyond countries that are just in China. So they want to really just make this a global endeavor. The Hong Kong version of the online store will be available to overseas users. Meanwhile, Valve, they've got plans of their own. They're targeting mainland China with a Chinese version of Steam. I didn't even know that there needed to be a Chinese version of Steam. Why can't they just use the existing international version of Steam, but give it to China? Oh, that's right, because China's government has banned the international version of Steam.
Oh.
Because it doesn't conform to their government rules or restrictions. Yeah, I mean, it's China. China's basically just a place you go to so that you can do fewer things. There's just lots of websites you can't visit. Lots of, shows you can't watch, like John Oliver and stuff, apparently now. So I guess game clients are no different.
That's because he compared Xi Jinping to
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Right. I mean, it's a, world-class sin.
The fact that we've brought this up now probably now means that we're enemies of China.
I would love to get banned by China. Like, yeah, we're banned by China. I'd tell everyone. Even people like who didn't know me. My live stream's banned in China. You should check it out. I bet people would check it out just for that.
But there's so much stuff that's banned in China. Like, how would that make... I
mean-
don't feel like that's a standout claim, is all I'm saying.
I don't know.
So is this
Puts us on the grid.
Is this part of the Belt and Road Initiative? Like, is that
I don't know if
what this
that's.
boils down
I don't know
to?
if that's a part of it,
That's all.
but I don't know. There's
You
a
know.
there's a huge market to be had in China. And in case you guys didn't know, Valve has stated in the past that. So even though a Chinese version of Steam isn't available yet, Valve's claimed that in the past over 25% of its users have designated simplified Chinese as their preferred language. So at one point, probably not too long ago, more than a quarter of Steam's users were opting for Chinese for the platform, which is all right. That's a big chunk. Clearly, there's a market there, and there will only be one victor coming out of this octagon of gaming frenzy, delightful. I don't know.
Who's the victor? Could it be?
I don't know. Steam has China has a lot of catching up to do because Steam's very well established, and they have a shit ton more games than we game at the moment. But I don't know. China is it's the biggest country in the world, and they're insane.
And
China's crazy.
And the Belt and Road Initiative has a lot of government backing, and that's. I feel like this falls under that.
Break down the Belt and Road Initiative in 30 seconds or less for someone who has never heard of it.
The Belt and Road
Definitely not me.
Initiative, or the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, is a development strategy proposed by the Chinese government which focuses on connectivity and cooperation between Eurasian countries, primarily the People's Republic of China, and land-based Silk Road Economic Belt and ocean-going Maritime Silk Road. Until 2016, the initiative was known as, in English, as the One Belt and One Road Initiative, but the Chinese came to consider the emphasis on the word one as misleading. It's China's attempt to reposition themselves as sort of the focal points of all global trade.
Ah. They're trying to be the global power of trade. And they're doing it by making themselves, like, just everything has to pass through them.
Well, it doesn't seem like the U.S. is interested in doing that anymore, but I feel like we're venturing too far into the realm of geopolitics.
Oh,
so
no!
Perhaps.
Politics. Maybe we could break this up with some Pimp My PC or something.
Yeah, maybe we should switch to something more lighthearted.
Before we get flagged and put on some watch list or
Great idea.
some shit.
Great idea, pal.
All right, so let's talk about some of your PCs,
Pimp
because
my
that's the
PC.
fun kind of loving stuff we talk
Yeah,
about on this
yeah.
show. Starting with Matthew. Sorry, slightly late. Yes, you were, Matthew. So late that you were actually able to get on the show. Ryzen 5 2600, ASRock. Wow, all the burps. ASRock X470 Master SLI motherboard. Asus Dual GTX 1060 6GB. What? Oh, dual. I thought you meant dual SLI. I was like, you can't do that. 16 gigabytes of Trident Z3200. CryoRig H7 Meshify C with two Arctic 140mm fans in front, planning to get an LED strip to counteract dark tint on glass. Yes, the Meshify C does have a dark tinted side panel, which I've never been too fond of. But let's take a look at your system here. Very nice, kind of clean, simple, very simple, humble setup.
What's this?
Your system, what?
This thing.
What?
This cable coming in down here on the left side of the keyboard.
That looks like a volume knob. That's probably connected to a sound card, maybe.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Oh, there's the inside. All right.
Who knows? All right, so it looks pretty good. Color coordination's on point, bruh, because it looks like you've either got white or blue LEDs in here. Obviously, the LED strip that you talked about that you might put in later would do you some favors in terms of illumination, making things kind of pop a little bit. Think about LED fans. I mean, you have a very like specific color that you're going with, like white, or maybe there's some blue there. So you might not even need RGB fans. You could save money on just getting some, like, blue or white LED fans. And I think that would look really nice, maybe on your rear fan.
Now I see what this picture is. Why is there just a solo cup on the floor over here?
That's very bizarre.
What? That's a weird
Place for a solo cup with no
Right?
other solo cups. I
There's
feel
nothing
like,
else around it.
because don't you feel like solo cups are like ants, where like you never see one of them alone?
Yeah, usually
They're always in a
usually
pack.
they're grouped in like a pyramid structure for the playing of beer pong or
juvenile
something.
festivities.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I'll never figure out the solo cup and now the solo cup's gone.
All right, so the only thing really standing out to me here internally from your PC, your 6-pin PCI Express power connector. I'm guessing it's a 6 plus 8 from your power supply, and then maybe even a daisy chain, and that's what this little bundle is down there. That's the only thing that's standing out to me. Depending on your power supply, like I don't want to tell you to snip off the daisy chain. You could snip off the daisy chain,
But you could.
but only do that if you've got another power cable, like a standby one that you could loop up there, right? Because you only want to do that like if you do upgrade your graphics card in the future, you don't
You're
want
gonna need
to
that.
you don't want to be stuck without the the PCI Express graphics
Yeah.
power
No,
connectors.
I don't think there's much
So
need to do that.
I don't outright. I wouldn't outright come and tell you to snip that off.
Just get an extension.
Yeah, maybe an extension. Maybe that would be a simpler
That's it.
solution that wouldn't be as much of an investment.
I'd rather spend $8 on an extension than snip off a power supply cable that I might need later.
Yeah. Also worth pointing out, these fans
Oh,
here
they're
look
backwards.
like they're. It looks like
Full negative pressure in
this
this
is a completely negative pressure
case. Yeah,
system here.
super negative.
So you're gonna want to flip these front fans to intake.
Or
That
suffer the
will-
dust consequences.
That will allow you to take advantage of the dust filtration properties of the Meshify C with the mesh that's in the front.
Yes, exactly.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, you should do all those things. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Matthew.
Moving on to Ryan. Or Rian.
Ryan McClelland.
R5 1600X, an MSI X370 SLI Plus, 16 gigs of G-Skill, 3000 megahertz, an RX 480 Cooler Master Liquid Light 120, and NZXT Phantom 240, blah 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 blah. I wonder why you opted for the X370 board and you only have one graphics card in there. Could have saved a little bit of money there. Maybe you needed some extra connectivity or you liked the way it looked. At any rate,
Yeah.
your cable management is kind of all over the place. You have a much older case, like case from another time, really. So you don't really get that nice power supply shroud that we saw in the last build. So you might have to try a little bit harder, I would say, with just tightening up your cables and making sure that they're tied together. Bunch up your excess cables all in one spot. Find a place for that, either in your hard drive cage that actually works pretty well for cases like this without a power supply basement, to put excess cables in the hard drive cage, or just buy your RGB fan. There's a clear RGB fan at the bottom of in a very prominent like R, G, and B LEDs. That bottom fan there.
Oh yeah.
Which aesthetically, functionally, it might be giving you, cut down a couple degrees off your graphics card. I don't know, but it can't. It doesn't look all that great. And I feel like you definitely need to tighten up your cable management in order to even get optimal airflow from that fan. I feel like it's kind of just splitting up the air path coming off of those blades. Additionally,
Why is there just a random, like, really old-looking Molex connector floating here?
where?
Right here. It's like one of the clear ones, you know?
Is that from the power supply?
That's why I'm confused. Power supplies don't usually have just a shorty little Molex connector coming off of them that's that small. So I don't know where the heck that's even coming from. It might be from the end of this little looped around cable here.
Is it from the fan? Is it a Molex fan?
It might even be like an adapter, because it looks like there's another Molex plug right here, right? Hold on, I'm zooming in.
Enhance!
Zoom in, enhance.
Enhance!
Okay.
Where is it? Where
So
is it?
this is just a loose Molex plug. Chilling.
Sure.
This is a loose SATA plug.
Sure.
Chilling. This is another loose Molex plug that is
That's-
the white
yeah,
Molex
that's
plug
not
with
part of the
ketchup
power
and mustard
supply.
on it, and I don't know where that, like, is it coming off of this? This cable down here looks like it's conflicting with that bottom fan. I mean, I don't think it actually is, because it seems to be
It's just
spinning,
perspective, yeah.
but it's just awkward. So
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
reason that Molex needs to be there. Again, cable management.
reattack your cable management. Get rid of that fan. I don't know. You're going to need a new power supply if you really want to get nicer looking cables, because extensions on this one do not make any sense at all.
Right. Yep.
So there you go. Hopefully these suggestions will help you make a more aesthetically pleasing PC in the future.
I think they will. Thank you very much, Ryan. And next we got Sean.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shawnee. An AMD FX 6300. Okay. Arctic Freezer 7 Pro cooler. Gigabyte GA78 LMT USB 3 motherboard. 16 gigs of G-Skill Ripjaws X DDR3 at 1600. And an MSI GTX 1050 Ti Gaming X4G. With a shitty iBuyPower case. According to him. He said it was shitty, not me. Oh, wow, that is a pretty shitty looking case. It looks very
It's
awkward
very
from the front.
iBuyPower. Like, that's
Super. That's their jam right
Yeah.
there. Okay, so let's take a close, hard look at this system.
Really not taking advantage of your 5 1/4 inch bay expansion possibilities here, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm kind of joking there, but look at these 5 1/4 inch bays. You got
I mean,
two of them available.
hot swappable.
Interesting hard drive trays here. Look, they've got like cheese. Look like cheesecloth, cheese boards.
Yeah,
What do you call those?
Those are 2.5 inch, right? Those are for SSDs, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you've got 2 hard drives in your actual cage. The color, like your cable management's actually really tidy. I will say that.
Is this an extension?
Yes,
Wow.
that is an extension.
All right.
There's an extension for his graphics card and his 8-pin EPS as well.
Graphics card has an extension. 8-pin EPS has an. All right.
So the cable management's pretty good. It's interesting because
I mean, for what you're working with, it's well done.
right, yeah, it's very tidy for what it is.
Your cable extensions probably cost more than the power supply, though, right? Like,
Well, this is an EVGA power supply. It's not.
it's a 600 BQ. That's
The BQ
probably
is very
a $50 power supply. A set of extensions will cost you. I mean, maybe. I'm just saying, like, if it were me,
You'd buy a better power supply
I'd
before you
kind
bought
yeah,
cables.
I'd kind of rather have an $80 or $100 power supply.
especially.
that was 80 plus gold or something.
But he's got pretty light specs too at the same time.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that power
it's,
supply
it's,
can
and
handle
it's a
that.
6300. So it's an interesting combination of parts. And you have a situation where it's like
I
an
think
FX
it's fine.
6300 and a 1050 Ti gaming, but there's also some what appears to be investment in some aesthetic stuff. So this is where I hesitate. But who knows? Maybe we don't know how he acquired all of these things. Maybe they were acquired in a way that didn't
For sex.
You know, maybe he traded them for sex.
Yeah.
So if you traded sex for your cable extensions,
The old
then
blowy.
it's totally acceptable. I find it completely appropriate.
It's one of the most
So we'll give
honest.
you a pass on
It's
that.
one of the most honest transactions that you could ever have as a human being.
Now, speaking of the shitty iBuyPower case, though, look how much the USB 3.0, the hateful USB 3.0 cable stands out. Like, from top to the middle to the actual plug area, like, it's just there, like, hey, I suck as a cable and an extension. Remember even how long you had to wait for USB 3.0 to become a header on a motherboard when it was like a year and a half when we couldn't decide on it? Like, and then it finally came out and it was stupid and bulky, and they made these hideous orange blue ones that
It still
looked horrible. It's just a reminder of it. Standing out all the more in a black and red case.
is. Yeah.
So
And the SATA cable.
I don't know what to say as far as what to do with this. Like, it doesn't look horrible. You know?
It just looks. It's the case. The case
Yeah.
can make the cabin of your case can make your system look good or bad. And I feel like if you were just in a more modern case that wasn't iBuyPower, it would look good. But because you're in the iBuyPower case, it looks bad.
Yeah, and I feel like I appreciate what you've done with what you're working with here. Like, for what you've got, it looks okay.
Yeah, it looks.
You know,
good for what
there's
you
a
got.
few stray cables here and there that could maybe be tidied up a little bit, but compared to the last build, it's golden. So yeah, like the aesthetic upgrades would be a new case and maybe a new power supply. Even the power supply is fine because you got the extensions on it, but like, I always hesitate to advise someone to do that when you're working with an FX 6300 and a 1050 Ti gaming. I would keep the 1050 Ti gaming, maybe consider a core platform upgrade before you spend too much money on aesthetics. That said, if you come across a new case that looks better, then upgrade to it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Thanks.
Thank you. And next is Eric. How you
Eric.
doing?
He's got a Ryzen 5 2400G, an ASRock AB350M Pro 4, 500 gig Samsung SAD. Oh, I think he meant to write SSD. And a 2 terabyte hard drive, EVGA GTX 1060, 6 gigabyte. That's super clocked.
Maybe it's a sad
And
SSD.
16 gigs of 2400. It could be a very sad SSD. Let's find out.
Why is the front panel coming off?
I know. I don't understand that. Is that to open up more airflow? Because it looks like a fairly mesh front. Oh no, maybe it's all acrylic, and maybe that's why you're doing it, because it's getting hot. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah.
Is that there's like a plastic or acrylic
Yeah.
panel right here
Yeah.
blocking the intake, so he just popped it open to allow the
More
components
intake.
to get cooler.
That makes sense.
We got that EVGA 600 BQ power supply again here.
It's back.
But hey, it's got all black cables, so you know.
And no blue USB 3 cables. That's good.
All right, now the shot with the flash here looks the worst because it's a shot with a flash, but it does also give you an actual look at the cabling inside.
Yeah.
So here again, we could just, like, you just want to kind of unplug everything and then remember where everything goes and then redo your cabling. Like, that's really what this needs. You gotta mess the stuff down here at the bottom.
Yar.
You do have some routing options, it appears, behind your motherboard tray, so just see what you can do to take better advantage of those. Tuck as much stuff back there as possible. Maybe consider rerouting some of these SATA cables, for
Definitely.
example.
Yeah, the SATA cables are bad.
Also, you have two 3.5-inch drives at the bottom, it looks like, facing
'em.
different directions.
Yeah.
So you could flip them both so they're facing the same direction, and all the cables are coming out in the backside, and that would be
Yes.
less visible.
You could use a nice dusting in this case too. Your
Yeah,
front
you-
intake fans look like they haven't been cleaned in a while, and it's also kind of a pet peeve of mine where like the fans aren't facing, like the actual logo on the center of the fans aren't facing the right way, or the same way.
these Corsair
So if you could
logos
like
up here.
rotate that bottom fan 90 degrees clockwise to match the Corsair logo of the top fan, I would appreciate it.
But also potentially hide that
The cable.
the label on the side of the fan
Oh yeah,
too.
the label.
Lighting's fine, all red. It's a black case. That's cool. Mostly black interior. Everything seems fine there. If you're really running your system with this front panel just like tilted out like this, I don't know what to tell you there. Like if you're that dissatisfied with the airflow in the case, then maybe
Get a new case.
start looking at new case options.
Or modify.
Or even like, I don't know, like can you pull this off entirely or just like actually cut a couple holes in it or something like that? Like that might be something to consider.
Depends if the front panel cables are connected to the front panel.
Having it propped open there just, I mean, it doesn't look all that great.
Yeah, looks like it's
So-
falling apart literally.
But there you go. All right.
Functionally, looks good. All
Thank
right,
you,
and
Eric.
finally we have Isa the Beasta. With a Ryzen 5 1600 and a Wraith Spire cooler, ASRock AB350 Pro 4 ATX motherboard, an EVGA super clocked GTX 1060,
Hey.
16 gigs of Ripjaws, what is that, Ripjaws 4? Ripjaws 5, sorry. And we have a Crucial MX 300 525 gig SSD with a Corsair CXM 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply and an NZXT S340 chassis.
Okay.
Okay. So, right off the bat, looks like a pretty clean system. Looks like a pretty clean build. Cable management looks pretty good to me.
Does need a dusting.
Yeah.
Picture 2. Could use that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you giving us the raw look as is. It does appear like the system is on the floor, and that's a big no-no for me.
Yeah, me too.
If you got it up off that carpet, you might get less dust in there overall. You might have your fan filters get clogged up less quickly, especially if you have pets or anything.
Yeah.
Just get it up off the floor. Even make a little platform for it that sets it up, 8 to 12 inches off the floor, and you'll be in a much better situation than you were otherwise. Might also give you some better solutions for routing the external cables that look like they're kind of just here and there outside the case. I was also going to say, looking at the second picture with the lighting, I like the blue LED fan. I think that's okay in there. I feel like you should get a matching one for the rear exhaust.
Yeah.
That would kind of balance the lighting out in the case, provide some more light for here for the upper left.
I agree.
And
And if you're going to do that, you might as well get one for the top fan too, because then
Yeah, you
you'd
could do
have
that.
all three.
you could do both. I mean, I think one in either position would be fine if you're just looking for a small investment to kind of balance things out a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe something to add in there when you do a little clean out project. But yeah, other than that, like very very clean looking,
yeah, looks good.
like your cable management.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might consider a air cooler upgrade for the Ryzen stock cooler. That might get you a little bit more stable boost clock speeds or maybe a little bit quieter performance.
And you might even reduce some of the dust buildup if you installed an additional intake fan at the front of your case. Because then you would have more neutral pressure, because right now it's sort of negative pressure with the 2 exhausts, and your system is pretty dusty, so maybe something to consider. But that's all I got for Pimp. That's all we got for Pimp My PC, guys. Thank you so much for submitting all of those, and we can move on to Q&A and Johnson's on stuff. So,
That we were doing
no, I didn't find anything for it, and we were, yeah. I've been going to bed at 9.
What?
I've been going to bed at 9, so like trying to end the show a little bit more on the early side.
Saying you're tired?
I actually am. I went to bed at 4.
You were telling me about that. Kyle drank a Dr. Pepper yesterday, guys.
I told him that story when you were peeing. We're all way ahead of you.
I feel deceived. Just led me right into that.
Backstabbing you.
Oh, there's a lion.
I'm old. Oh, yes, a lion. Oh, what the hell? Oh, because Windows updates.
Where'd he come from?
Windows updates must have happened.
It's always the Windows.
And there's all my passwords. Just kidding. It's Cam and the face-off that we were going to have and Spotify. But wouldn't that be fun?
We played a lot of Overwatch this past weekend.
Did you?
Yes.
I'm jealous. Anytime you tell me, like, oh, I played a lot of video games recently, I'm like, fuck you, Paul! Go to hell!
Like,
I want your life!
There's 2 sides to it. Like, on the one hand, we played a lot of video games. On the other hand, like, I can like, point out and count off on my fingers the things that we didn't do because we were playing video games. But it was fun.
It probably wasn't more important than
I actually now feel like I am up to date on the various Overwatch characters, the new characters that have been released.
I actually had time
and their skills and stuff. Like I kind of know what Moira does now. Or
like what they're
or
about.
Sombra
Type of thing, yeah.
Yeah, when there's a big bubble like floating across towards me.
Oh,
I'm
that
not,
thing.
like,
yeah.
What is that? What is that?
You've
and what's
demystified that. Whole,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing our live stream. Where I was like, I don't even know this game.
It was a little confusing. And what I realized was some of the heroes whose abilities I was confused about like came out like over a year ago. And I was like, oh no.
I know.
This is really.
We are truly.
I need to play more video games.
Truly old. All right,
it was fun though.
That's cool.
It was my wife's fault too.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of your donations and what you had to say. For $9.99, Jason Christoph. 144 to 1.44 to 1.46 on an 1800X at 4 gigahertz on Asus, then turned off, then was at 1.38 to 1.39. Sorry, I'm also drinking.
Oh, that's fine.
That makes a lot more sense than the initial donation that you put on Paul's half.
Yeah.
We were wondering if, like, how could you do 4.4 volts? That would not end well.
So the other thing you need to pay attention to with Ryzen that I've noticed a lot is it'll do peak voltage. That it'll jump itself up to very, very like sporadically, but it doesn't stay at that.
Right.
So monitor your peak voltage, but also monitor what your average voltage is, like while you're actually doing a synthetic test or something like that. Because the average voltage is what I pay a little bit more attention to than those peak numbers. Mm-hmm. That said, 1.38 to 1.39 sounds about where you should be. So off might be the way to go, I suppose, with your setup.
He's talking about the EPU, right?
It's weird that EPU being on would increase the voltage. I don't know how to explain that exactly, but I don't exactly know how EPU works with the Asus motherboard. So
yeah. We got to get JJ on the line for that one.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is to turn off any of the automatic stuff where it's like trying to do this to save power or trying to do this to like get you a little bit higher frequency.
Manual all the way.
If you kind of know what you're doing, just like go with manual or go with the ranges that are available or go with the offset.
The automatic settings always are so finicky and you don't know exactly how they're behaving.
Yeah.
Jordan Sangster Williams, 5 Australiers. For a portable VR development system, should I go with the new Intel Nook as it claims it can do VR, or a mini ITX 8700K with a 1070 Ti, or 11 series system? While you're all over the place here, the Intel Nook could probably get you by if you're just looking for the lowest cost solution out of the options you've given, and you're okay with more of like an entry level VR experience, maybe nothing super high end, like with high graphical fidelity. But the 8700K with a 1070 Ti would definitely give you a lot more performance than that Intel Nook ever could. And even more so if you were to pop an 11 series card into that configuration. It really is just going to boil down to what expectations you're looking for to get out of your VR experience. If you're just looking for like the simple stuff, like you're just trying to play like Job Simulator and shit like that, like, you know, really easy, like hover junkers type stuff, then go with the Intel Nook and save like $1,000. But if you really want to fork out, shell out the extra cash for that premium level experience, we're just super buttery smooth, even for high-end VR games, maybe ones that are being developed by AAA developers like Bethesda and Epic and stuff these days, then yes, I would say build your own system with some of the hardware that you've configured there. So,
Yeah, I would mostly agree there. I think the Nook would be a good system to use to demonstrate like how will your game that you're developing perform on entry level hardware, because I think like VR capable is like an advertising feature, like a selling point that a lot of manufacturers try to use, like, oh, this can do VR, but really can do VR is not exactly a there's no established standard for like VR capable to be like, well, it actually has this much GPU processing horsepower or whatever.
At what frame rate, and you know.
Yeah. The fact that you say portable is the only thing that might make me lean towards the Nook, because it is very small and easy to take with you and everything. But if you're doing development, I think you'd want more. I think you'd want a computer that can do more.
Yeah.
In general, so like a mini ITX portable 8700K 1070 Ti system is probably a better bet.
Right. Open up more possibilities. MB67, $13.37. Kyle, cheers. Fair warning, I might get to see you guys at Comic-Con Meetup. Yes, I believe you're in the nearest San Diego area, if I remember correctly, MB. So
Nice.
that'd be cool, because, yeah, I haven't seen you since TwitchCon last year at the little meetup that we did. That'd be cool, man. Hope to see you there. Andrew Schweier, 10 Canadiers. On the previous week, you guys mentioned that my cables are messy. Would have to mod case to hide fully. The motherboard tray is all I have to hide cables, and the power supply and full hard drive tray takes up most of the space. Well, I guess that, you do what you can, you know,
And I think
in
at
case you're giving.
a certain point, you know, you kind of have to let aesthetics go and just do what makes the most sense for the functionality of your system.
Yes.
And if you don't have enough space to hide your cables, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just try to cinch them down. Try to, you know, get them. You know, they don't have to look good, but try to get them out of the way of the airflow, and that will give you a functional system. And you know, it's easy to ignore the critiques that Kyle and I give on Pimp My PC, because it is aesthetic, and we're trying to give you things that would make things look better, but often functionality is more important than that. So
Absolutely.
you should never feel bad for going for the functional thing, or for just not having a case that you can make everything look absolutely beautiful in.
Yeah, make sure that you're happy with your specs first before you spend a dime on cosmetics. I feel like performance should always come first. You know, if you're not exactly happy with the frame rate you're getting or just how snappy your system is, then don't spend your next dollar on custom cables or LED strips. Buy a faster graphics card, you know, and then once or a faster CPU. Once that's where you want it to be, then cosmetics can be like the last line of action, I guess, for upgrading your system. But moving on. Thank you very much, Andrew Schweier, for that explanation. Pup Shepherd, $5. Wags. Hope you're well. Have you two thought about doing a short film?
Hi, Pup.
I have done a few. I am sure you have, Pup. None of which I am leaping out of my seat to see at the moment. Just knowing you, being you, good old Pup. Yeah, you know, I've never really thought about doing a short film. You know what? That's a lie.
You kind of do short films all the time for your channel?
Not really a short. A short film is like industry standard, like 10, 15 minutes. Like an actual short film. Like a short film's like 15 minutes, I would say, like a Sundance short film. I have considered like doing something like that, but it's so much work. You need a whole team to do that sort of thing too. But and also like a lot of time to like write a script that is good, and yeah, it's a lot of work. I kind of enjoy the really quick turnover of a YouTube channel. Like I kind of enjoy starting a project and finishing a project within like a day or two, and then completely moving on to a completely new project. I think that quick sort of snappy back and forth turnaround works for me. But I think I have too much ADHD to actually tackle on a short film. That sounds as cool as I'm sure it would be if it was done properly. All right. Thanks, Pup, for reminding me how inadequate I am. Baja Truck Guy, $5. What are your thoughts on the Corsair C70 Vengeance case despite it being 5-ish years old? Thanks, love the show. The Corsair C70 Vengeance is one of those cases.
I never built in the C70 Vengeance.
Neither have I. But I always liked that case.
Yeah, I always thought it looked cool. Had the ammo box kind of feel.
Sort of military.
A few different colors
rugged.
For it.
It was one of like the most badass cases for its time, and even years after that, it was still one of like the most like rugged, just aggressive looking cases without being like so cheesy and gamery. The one thing I didn't like about it was the window, because it had the fan mounts. It had the two, I don't know if they were 80 millimeter or 120 millimeter, probably 80 millimeter fan mounts on the side that just kind of like just didn't look all that cool, looked nice, and you couldn't see the inside of your system very well. Because they had all the ventilation holes and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like I feel like that was probably the only reason why I'd never bought one, or looked into it, because just I didn't like that side panel. But I've heard it's a great case. Steve loves that case.
I will say this: I have a Fractal Define R5 that I have upgraded multiple times over the past couple years, and basically, from 2-3 years ago, like what was a pretty decent $100-ish case then. I added tempered glass. I added a USB 3.1 Gen 2 port. And I currently now feel that case has pretty much the entire feature set that you would want for any modern case.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right. Exactly.
This is tempered glass. It's became very popular. And then the connectivity. This is the main functional thing that's been upgraded.
Right.
Beyond that, it's like an ATX layout, and you put your power supply. Like maybe you don't have a power supply shroud, I guess.
That'd be the only thing.
And maybe something else that you might consider.
Sure.
But yeah, I think those are the main things functionally and aesthetically that have happened in the past couple of years. So
right.
And I guess RGB, but like you wouldn't want that with the C70 because it's kind of a military color theme. So yeah, perfectly adequate case though. See if you can mod it and upgrade the I/O.
Yep.
Maybe that'd be fun.
Done deal. Just a boy. 5 Australiers, no comment. Thank you for your silent donation. I appreciate it. Davey Chow!
Davey Chow!
For the $5! Is it the just or does... What? I can't even read this in English.
Is it just me?
Oh, he forgot the me. Is it just a me? Or does the urge to go a poop get stronger the closer you get to a toilet? Especially your home toilet. It'll peak when I finally sit down.
Yeah. I've had many experiences where like I'm on my way home or almost home and I'm driving and I'm like,
I'm gonna shit.
Like I gotta shit.
Oh crap, I gotta crap.
And like I don't know, it's like your body realizes the exact amount of time you have between like to get there and rush to where you go to like where you're just sitting down right as like, and you're like, if I had gotten here 5 seconds later, like I would have crapped my pants. And that's probably not how it would work. Like if you were 5 seconds later, you would have known like I'm 5 seconds later and I'm gonna hold it a little bit longer. But that's always what it feels like.
Right.
So yeah. I know what you mean.
I've always thought like if I was at A and I had to get to B to take a shit, like I could make it, right? Or I'm sorry, like if there was an A and there was a C, I could get to C and make it. But if along the way I found a B that also had a toilet that I could take a shit at, I would like be so ready to shit. But if for whatever reason B, like I found out the last minute that the toilet wasn't working or I couldn't shit there or whatever, I would never be able to make it to C because I would have my body would have already like loosened my bowels in preparation of the defecation. That rhymes, it must be true, at location B to the point where there's no turning back. You're past the point of no return and there's no more muscles to sort of contract that shit storm that's about to happen. So what I'm saying is I agree with you.
We've all been there.
Done that.
It's such a satisfying feeling though when you finally do get there.
Oh, every time.
It's awesome.
Dropping loads, losing pounds. Space Elephant, $5. I have been watching you guys for only like 4 to 5 months now. That's longer than most people do, I'm sure. I have binge watched y'all, and I gotta say, you two single-handedly got me into computers. Jeff.
Computers.jeff.
That's a whole new thing that we don't even know about. So, imagine what we could get you into. All the topics that we do know about. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that we inspired you in some way.
I'm curious kind of what you binge watched though. Like, did you binge watch our normal stuff or did you binge watch the live shows?
Maybe both.
Anyone who binge watches the live shows, I feel like there must be 1 or 2 people out there who've done it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, what effect it has had on you long term.
That's partial insanity or
like,
mental illness.
Like where you. Like, if we could somehow do a scientific test and, like, measure IQ levels or, like, intelligence or, like, problem-solving skills, like, would it go up or down? I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's like some homeless guy. I watched every one of your shows. Oh, my God, is that Stephen Hawking? Sorry. Stephen Hawking.
I'm going to stop laughing at what you just heard. Because I feel like a bad person.
You are. You are just let your bad person
like
fly.
A bad person with your horrible things you're doing. Okay.
Your bad person flag fly. All right, Blake Scott, $14.99.
Blake.
Once again, no comment. Then we have no comment
Thank you,
other
Blake.
than to say thanks.
$14.99. Lots of not 99s in this with this donation.
Yeah, you know, they want to seem like
People
they're spending
want
less.
to round up. You know, that's a technique
round
that
up,
people
round up
selling
the cherry.
stuff make to seem like it costs less. So
Yes.
if you're donating,
Then you
maybe
should,
spend
you should
the
go
extra penny and it makes
Yeah.
it seem like you've donated more.
up, right?
Like, it's not a big deal to me. I'm just saying.
I'm kind of pissed.
The psychology of the, like, $14.99 or $19.99. It's out there.
And it's also like more keys that you have to enter.
Yeah, it's more work.
You could have just write 1-4.
So Johnny Woolen with the $19.99
$9.99
says, "Love you guys. Quick question: will running an Optane 900p SSD through the PCH or a PLX chip result in any significant latency?"
I wouldn't say significant.
So
Maybe a little.
It's gonna depend, I believe,
chip.
in both of those situations on what else you have going through that interface. PLX is basically a glorified switch for PCI Express lanes. So in a situation where you don't have any devices competing for that bandwidth, it adds like just a tiny bit of latency, and it's really negligible for the most part. PCH is kind of the same way, although I don't believe there's a whole lot of latency involved there, since it is PCH is native chipset connectivity.
Right.
But the PCH is also kind of like a glorified switch. Depending on what platform you're on, like I believe that mainstream is 4 actual PCIe 3.0 lanes plexed out into like 20 actual connectivity lanes. So there again, it's going to depend. Do you have devices connected to all those different things? Are all of those devices trying to use that bandwidth at the exact same time?
Right.
Then yes, it will affect your throughput. If not, then it's probably just going to be a very minor hit on latency.
Right. And it gets the whole lane,
and probably,
more or less.
And probably mostly negligible.
Yeah.
If you're doing a bunch of Optane 900p drives and you want to connect them all and do some RAID configuration and have maximum performance, I would recommend going directly PCI Express connectivity. And there's lots of different riser cards, again, depending on the platform that you're on. Asus and quite a few other companies make them that allow you to connect those directly via PCI Express, and that would be your best bet. Jason Christoph, $9.99.
Hey.
If I send you guys both a 6-pack of the beer from my local brewery,
Yes, we'll drink it.
I drink during Awesome Hardware. How long do I have to wait for you guys to get? Because I'll be pissed if it gets skunky. So Jason, we usually go and check our PO boxes. I want to say
Once a month.
once a month, maybe every 3 weeks.
Yeah. at the most.
But
I've been really bad.
if you
lately.
send us beer, like tweet to us that you sent us beer like every day for the next few days, there'll probably be a higher likelihood that we go and check it to make sure we get that. And then just make sure you're sending us beer that's not as likely to get skunky. I mean, beer's not naturally going to get skunky.
True.
Don't buy cold beer and send it to us because it'll, like, temperature changes are bad. Don't buy beer. Don't send us beer in green glasses. Darker glasses is better.
Yeah.
Light can cause beer to get skunky over time.
True.
Those would be my suggestions. Or, you know, send us a Bevmo gift card or something, and we can go get our own beer and make sure.
And tell us what to get.
Yeah,
and we'll buy whatever you want.
that works too.
Dwayne Bond,
Thank you,
$5.
Jason.
When I turn off or restart my new computer, my keyboard will not work.
Ooh,
I have to do a hard restart, and then it'll work. What do you guys think's wrong?
I've had this problem
What
before.
kind of keyboard is it?
Actually, when I've had this problem before, I think it has more to do with the motherboard. The ports I'm plugged into on the motherboard, I would try plugging into different USB.
I've never had that happen.
Try to plug into different USB ports on the motherboard
It just
itself.
won't work upon reboot?
There's sometimes there are keyboards themselves that have different, like, I can't list it off the top of my head, but like, of course, there's some Corsair keyboards, for example,
They have the BIOS switch.
that have a BIOS switch. Here, this one actually does right here.
Right.
So this has a BIOS switch with 4 different modes on the top. So
Polling rate switch, I think.
they're polling. Sometimes it's polling rates. Other things that like a BIOS might be looking for that the keyboard might be trying to connect in a mode that it doesn't like. So switching up your keyboard with something like this might allow you to switch between those different modes and find one that doesn't cause the keyboard to become disconnected. But I've also had just motherboards that were just really finicky with like restarts and stuff like that, and like it could also be a power delivery issue. I know, for example, really weird issue with my keyboard and mouse on my main system because I have a sit-stand desk, and there was a while where when I would make this desk go from sit to stand mode, and it would suddenly draw more power, and like my mouse, I could see it, the light would go off on my mouse, and then my mouse would stop
Because
working.
it was all connected to the same power strip
I
or
would-
something?
Yeah, everything's on the same power strip, but it's like the computer itself is getting a little bit less current for a brief moment as the sit-stand desk goes on.
Have you ever plugged a...
And I would have to unplug the mouse and plug it back in order to get it to work again.
Have you ever
And it's
plugged
just-
a kilowatt into one of those up desks to see how much power it's actually drawing as you
No.
change the... That'd be interesting.
That's a good question.
What if it's like pulling like 100 watts or some shit?
Yeah, I mean, it might be pulling.
'Cause, I mean,
pulling
you would
too
think it
much.
would have to because you can. Those can sustain a lot of weight and still be able to like hydraulic lift it like no problem. So
Yeah.
I wonder like if that's gonna affect your CPU.
So yeah,
wattage at all.
Dwayne,
That's
I think the thing I would do that's the simplest and doesn't involve spending any more money would be just be trying different USB ports to connect your keyboard to on your computer. Even consider, if you get that far and you try the ones on your I/O and you're not having any luck, consider getting a little USB 2.0 like bracket for internally and plug into one of your USB 2.0s on the board and plug your keyboard into that. See if that could help.
In certain situations, depending on the board, I've also seen like downloading the actual software that belongs to that motherboard. I'm sorry, that keyboard manufacturer can also help. I know like Logitech keyboards. Some Logitech keyboards, like one that I bought recently was the G Pro. It didn't even work at all until I installed the Logitech gaming software onto it. So I would imagine there are some other keyboards out there that just don't function 100% properly until you've downloaded either, maybe updated the firmware on them. That's something to check as well, or just maybe like the whatever software that they're associated with.
That always
something
seemed
to bear
really-
in mind.
That always seemed really weird to me, though,
It's really, really weird.
when your PC was doing that.
I honestly don't think it's good.
All right, Pup Shepherd.
Pup,
$5
what? Just
donation.
hit 900 subs.
Nice.
Oh, hey.
Congrats, Pup.
You're almost at a grand, Mr. Pup. We wish you good luck to the next 100 subs and get you to that quad digit, fam.
Breaking the thousands.
Yeah. Gerald, $10. Spent the 4th building my new rig. Submitted pics for Pimp My PC. Thanks again for all your expertise and inspiration. Cheers, fellas. Hey, congrats on the new rig, man. That's awesome.
Congrats.
What a day to build it on
Great
too.
way to spend the 4th.
Freedom building.
I hope it has a red, white, and blue theme.
You have the right to build a PC. I wish a cop would say that to me in that way. One of these days, that'd be cool. Cell processing. Cell, why are you donating? We should be giving you money. You're a moderator. Kyle, I think donations are great. Even more so for friends. It's like saying you mean this much to me in this many dollar amounts. It is, yeah, you know, when you think about it that way, donations are kind of a nice way to quantify your appreciation of someone or something. So I guess I'm only worth $5 to you. That's kind of fucking depressing, Sal. I was hoping that there was a little bit more between us, but
I was going to point out that
that's
Sal,
fine. That's cool. I'm not pissed.
Sal can put
Fuck it.
whatever he wants into the show doc, so he could have put Cell processing with the $100 donation to blah, blah, blah.
Yes, full and total control. And I guess that's all. Yeah, I guess this is all to say that you're a trustworthy asshole. So
Sal, next time you do this, you should really inflate the dollar amount that you've donated. I want to see a $50,000 cell processing donation. I'm looking forward to that.
But he like puts it in some currency.
Because that's what you mean. That's what you mean to us.
Power. remember, Sal. Also, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And you have the power of editing the show docs. So.
Also, that $50,000 donation would be like a gift, like a one-time gift to us, which means it wouldn't be taxable.
It would really be for you.
It's like you can. I learned this from Shawshank Redemption. You can give your wife like a one-time
lump sum
gift.
And what does that do?
What? What does that do?
And it's tax deductible?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not taxable.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we should get married to Cell?
I'm saying you should watch Shawshank Redemption. It's a really good movie.
It is still #1 on IMDb, I believe. In
Really?
terms of all greatest movies of all time. Shawshank's been up there for like 10 years, going strong. So
get busy living, get busy dying. Goddamn right.
Goddamn right. Fucking hell. What was the guy's name?
Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne.
Or Red.
It's
Morgan Freeman is Red.
Yep. Oh, so good. I know what I'm watching when I get home. I'll be up till 4 again. All right. Jason Christoph again. $9.99. $9.99, not $1,000. The reason for my 99 cents is that for whatever reason, YouTube on the phone doesn't do whole dollar amounts, and it does do, and does a amount and 99 cents. So I guess it can only do 99 cents on YouTube mobile.
Huh.
Interesting. That's really bizarre. I guess Kevin Mountain is also on mobile because he just donated $14.99.
$14.99.
What's with the 99? I guess we know now.
Hey, that's.
And he just
that's
wrote, "Love
fine with
you,
me.
love you, boo." Well,
Thank you, Kevin.
I love you too, Mr. Mountain. Thank you very
Mountain.
much
That's
for
a cool
the
name.
donation, and thank you very much again, Jason, for the donation. Gerald, $5. Kyle never gets my name right. I said Gerald. I said Gerald the first time, but I mispronounced everyone's name the first time. I mispronounced everyone's name intentionally the first time around. Because I said, who else I say? I don't know. Maybe it's just yours. Yeah, you're probably right. Occasionally, I'll just mispronounce. Like, I always go back to that Key and Peele sketch where I think it's Key is a substitute teacher, and he's like super ghetto or something, and he's like he's taking attendance, he's taking roll, and like he's super ghetto though, so it's like Aaron or whatever. He's like, Ron. I'm looking for Ron. Like, I don't know. You have to watch that sketch. It's hilarious. But I always think back to that, and so like when I'm reading names, I'm like Gerald. Anyway,
That's where it comes from.
that's just my head, and you're welcome.
That explains it.
So Kyle never gets my name right, so here is money for butchering my name. Hey, I'll butcher everyone's names from now on. If it gets me more money, think President Gerald Ford. Yes. or Arnold's best friend from Hey Arnold. Those are very good references. Although I never grew up with Nickelodeon, so that one is lost on me.
I never watched Hey Arnold either.
Yeah, I didn't have cable growing up. I had just basic television with an antenna. You know, and Heather, like, Wifey Sauce always gives me shit for it. She's like, no wonder you're so messed up. I'm like, what, just because I didn't have cable? She's like, it explains a lot. I'm like, what? How? She's like, yeah, you just didn't, you never watched Rugrats or, like, Real Monsters? I'm like, no, like, Doug? I'm like, She's like, why did I marry you?
I never watched any of those.
She takes it very seriously.
Things.
Well, you're also a little bit older than me.
I'm old.
I don't Sad panda Paul. I don't mean to make you feel outdated and irrelevant, Paul, but God damn, where have you been all these years?
I remember the Disney Afternoon. Remember anyone? Disney Afternoon.
Was that on that was the Disney Channel, right?
Yeah, that was main.
That was cable.
You didn't
though.
have to pay some highfalutin, cable money for that. That was Disney Channel. It was on. I think it was on Fox or something like that.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah.
Disney Afternoon.
Right.
It's like the Gummy Bears.
The Gummy Bears. I never saw that.
DuckTales.
DuckTales once in a while.
Rescue Rangers. Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck was cool.
What else? I think that was mainly it.
I grew up around. Did you ever watch PBS?
Yes.
PBS Kids, like Wishbone. Carmen Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego, yes. Absolutely Carmen Sandiego.
That was my jam, man. Oh my God, I'm dating myself. We're both dating ourselves right now. That explains a lot. Wifey Sauce is right. We're fucked up. All right, let's finish off these last two donations. Baja Truck Guy, $5.
Baja Truck Guy.
He said his comment is mobile. But he actually donated an even amount.
He did a full dollar.
No, 99 cents.
I
just way to further confuse the shit out of us, Mr. Baja Truck Guy. But thank you for the donation. And Monkey Spank 024. This will be our last donation, it looks like, for the night. $4.99. Must be on mobile. Thanks for the suggestion on Pimp My PC. Next upgrade will probably be a case. I'm guessing this is iBuyPower Guy.
Monkey Spank.
Monkey Spank. I think it's a different name than what we saw, but whoever it is, yes. Listen to our advice.
Good idea.
Nothing can go wrong from that.
Everything we told you was gold.
Yep, and that's pretty much it, guys. Let's do some Johnsons really quick.
All right, we should start out with a big old Johnson for a gentleman named Muhammad.
Oh,
he's from Australia.
Killing it.
He placed 2 big old orders, spent more than $400 on our merch sites, and got t-shirts, mugs, decals sent to Australia.
I'll be dreaming of Muhammad tonight.
Awesome hardware merch too. So big thank you, Big Johnson to Muhammad.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
You the fan.
In the meantime, we also have
the real fan.
Some more Johnsons during the show.
Jonathan gets a Johnson for being a Jonathan, picking up a Words in a Circle pint glass. Yes, the glasses for your asses.
Zachary H. from Tennessee, big old Johnson, got the Oxblood thumbscrew t-shirt as well as the 20-ounce pub glass.
Nice.
Sexy.
Samuel L. Words in a Circle again, another glass for Samuel. Johnson to you, sir.
Chester L. from Washington gets a Johnson. He also got the pub glass.
Chester does not get a... I will revoke Chester's Johnson in place of a Double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
We're picking up an Evolution stainless steel bottle opener. Thank you very much, Chester.
How did you get in the English accent?
I don't know. It's quite fun, though.
Keegan R. from California. Got the Awesome Hardware RGB Everything shirt, the same one that Kyle is wearing right now. In dark gray heather.
All right, so guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Awesome Hardware, episode 154. If you would like to do timestamps on my half of the show, feel free to comment that in the comments below. I will pin you and thank you and stuff. And yeah, go ahead and toss a like on it. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Paul. And we have one last thing to say, which is a raid. We're going to do a Twitch raid.
Oh, yeah.
I believe our good friend and moderator Cell Processing has actually picked out, cherry-picked, hand-picked from the audience.
He hasn't.
A Twitch streamer.
Nope.
No?
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He just put it down below. KC Britt.
Casey Britt.
Cell will be joining Casey Britt for some Far Cry 5 arcades. So
Ew.
twitch.tv/KCBRIT.
Yep.
Go ahead and raid them.
Raid the.
Now, currently 9 viewers on KC Britt. So
those are the best.
Let's see what we can jump that up to.
Tell them we sent you.
Adult, mature audiences warning, of course. But go ahead and
that's
go
right
ahead
up
and
your
start
guys'
watching
alley.
Casey. And thanks for watching us, guys.
Guys, see you later.
So long.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Boy.